Welcome to the Dr. Dad's podcast, where a naturopath and chiropractor come together each week to share lifestyle medicine, health advice, and inspiring interviews with some of the top experts in health and wellness, bringing you the latest in nutrition, exercise, ancient healing, toxins and detox, your microbiome, mindset, hormones, brain, and much more. Stay tuned. We're going to teach you how to experience growth daily.
Okay, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Dr. Dad's podcast. Here with my co-host, Dr. David Wardy. Another day in the sunshine in El Paso. How's everything going down there, buddy?
It's beautifully hot here, but I'm handling it, man. We're good.
We just realized that we both grew up in the desert. So I lived in, my family still lives there, in the only desert in Canada. It's called Vesuvius, BC. It's a little pocket desert, extension of the California desert. And we realized there's some affinity there with being, as you said, desert hood rats. Growing up in the heat and
yes, sir.
And the playful nature of the desert energy. Yeah, I love that.
It's a special place.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because in growing up in our town, it was a very much like a summer season. Like in the wintertime, it was just dead. And so thinking of like the topic at hand, or when we talk about male sexual health, the interest in the female body started to really increase, obviously in the summertime. Bikinis everywhere. It was like a little like beach town. And so we used to stroll down what was called Campsite Row in whatever vehicle we could find, looking for girls at a young age. So but that brings up the topic. We don't stay as spring chickens. We sometimes notice that we end up with difficulty in the realm of sexual health. And it's also a conversation that sometimes is challenging to have with your doctor. So for all those reasons, to invite back the spring chicken and that vitality and to find out what's missing maybe in your own sexual health and your own sexual journey, we got a chance to connect with Dr. Elliot here today. So I'm just going to introduce him a little bit, and then I'm going to get him to share a little bit more of his extensive journey. So Dr. Elliot Justin is the CEO and founder of something called FirmTech, which I'm going to let him explain in much more detail, but it has to do with the developing and strengthening sexual health through a wearable device. He's a urologist and has studied at many different institutes. Sorry, say that again?
Emergency medicine,
sorry. Emergency medicine doc, and trained in many different esteemed universities and taught at many of these universities as well. So I'm going to let him introduce more of his journey and how he got into the field that he's in currently. So Dr. Elliot, thank you so much for being on the program with us.
Sure, it's great to be here. So I can tell you that as an emergency medicine doctor, there are a few emergencies that concern a man beyond, say, stroke or heart attack, like a limp dick. So maybe even up there ahead of stroke. I don't know. So this came to me, and I really say it's a legacy project because we're going to change the fields of urology, gynecology, and sexology by making them data-driven as opposed to opinion, speculation, anecdote-driven. We live in this incredible age of healthcare wearables, smart watches, smart rings, and yet there's this gap, which is sex. And what do men care more about? How many steps they took yesterday, or the status of their erections? And that's a rhetorical question. We all three of us on this call know what the answer to that question is. It remains a mystery to me why it fell to me to fill that gap, because the technology and the data and analytic tools that we're using with FirmTech were available 30, 35 years ago. So I just want to draw an analogy for your listeners to cardiology. I'm a lot older than you guys. I'm 71 years old. Both you guys look really fit. But all of us, when we work out, could suddenly have an episode of irregular rapid heartbeat. And if we went to our doctor and said, gee, I just ran 6 miles and my pulse is never sustained over 160. It's irregular. I'm alarmed. All of us had that complaint. And the doctor just put his hands on a radial artery and said, oh, Dave, Nick, take this pill, digoxin, come back in 3 months. We would think, what the fuck is this, 1900? We would expect an electrocardiogram. You're not going to take my blood pressure, a Holter monitor. You're not going to check my liver proteins. We would expect a full workup. And yet, if a man or a woman, for that matter, goes to a urologist or a gynecologist or their family doctor or their internist and says, on the male side, I get erections and I lose them. Women say, "Well, I'm drier now. They're used to it. I'm not, I don't lack desire." They just give them a pill. And then the doctors won't even ask that question either. Doctors don't take sexual histories. So how did I get into this? As I explained to you guys before, you guys are desert. I'm here in the mountains. One thing I think we probably all agree on, that when it comes to the United States and Canada, the East is least and the West is best. Right. So I own horses, and though my wife tells me I ride like a 5-year-old, bullshit, I ride like a 25-year-old. I do ride fast, and I sometimes have this illusion, as I told you guys before, this illusion I'm a centaur, like one with my horse. We're in the moment together. Back in 2015-ish, I knocked a tree over with my chest. I broke 6 ribs and 6 vertebrae. I'm certain that tree is still talking about me, by the way. As I was lying on the ground, and Dave, you're a chiropractor. I don't know if have you ever heard of the cock-up sign?
No, I haven't.
Because I've been trying to popularize this since the early 80s, unsuccessfully, and now I'm turning it over to you. This could be your mission. If you think someone has a spinal cord injury, but as I thought I might, you can cock up your big toe, you can defecate, urinate, and most importantly, fornicate, the big 3. So as I was lying there on the ground, I realized I was in a lot of pain. But of course, I'm an emergency medicine doctor. What did I check first? Well, I could breathe, and then I cocked back my big toes. And then I felt my chest to make certain I didn't have a pneumothorax, and I wasn't bleeding out. But I conducted an experiment on myself that I called Project O for obvious reasons. I wanted to know what's been done to rehabilitate men with spinal cord injuries. And there were 5 papers in the medical literature, and we don't call it literature for nothing because a lot of it's just fucking fiction, as we now well know after COVID. There are 5 papers by renowned urologists all over the world, peer-reviewed papers, saying that we've produced erections and even ejaculation in men with multiple sclerosis or spinal cord injuries with neuromodulation. So neuromodulation is like cardiac pacemaking. You put an electrode and you have a generator pack. I thought, God, wouldn't that be incredible if we could pacemake human sexuality for people as they get older, people with injuries? I tried it out on 2 rams, male sheep. I called it ram charging. We got erection and ejaculation, but we also got defecation and urination. So it wasn't bedroom friendly, especially in El Paso. Maybe Providence, Cape Cod, or maybe somewhere in London, South Side, but not in most of the world. So I then had a urologist friend of mine off the books implant electrode by my cavernous nerve, pudendal nerve, penile nerve, everyone's favorite nerves that people don't talk about. Nothing. Now, I wasn't going to go out and raise $25 million and test this out on 35 people in Brazil. That was it. I think that those studies were bullshit. But in 2000, 3 years ago, a urology professor at the University of Utah heard about this, and he said, "Wow, I want to see if that guy can help me build a device to count the number of nocturnal erections that men have, because they're a leading indicator of man's cardiovascular health." And I thought, what the fuck are you talking about? I never heard of that. Nocturnal erections, and we all know about morning wood. And even the desert, there's probably morning wood too. And I thought, leading indicator means that's predictive, not associated. And in medicine, we treat associations with whether we're chiropractors or regular doctors. We treat associations. This is associated with helping that, et cetera. So leading indicator is predictive. So a healthy man averages 3 to 5 nocturnal erections per night. Actually, we now have no more than that, because that's based on data using the Ritascan, which looks like device in the 90s, looked like some Dr. Frankenstein putting your penis with wires, and it's really horrible. Our device we've documented over 44,000 erections, so we have data no one else in the world has. And we actually, next week, we're going to be publicizing it broken down by age brackets. So, Nick, Dave, how old are you guys?
42.
Yeah, 44.
So you're the same age bracket. How many nocturnal erections should you be having if you're healthy, your age?
Well, you said 3 to 5, so I wasn't sure what age group that was for.
That was everyone.
As average?
I'd say on the upper
I'd
end.
say at least
probably.
5 to 10.
5 is what it should be. If you have sex before you go to bed, it'll probably drop down to 3 or 4. And by the way, I recommend having sex before you go to bed every night. But it'll drop down. So utilizing that data point, men can then predict their cardiovascular health. So we've had 2 men get cardiac catheterizations that I'm aware with our technology, and I know that there are 2 men who had one hormonal problem, one had a significant adrenal problem, because they were significantly below average. We had one guy dropping 5.2, one guy dropping 4-0. They got catheterized. So the technology is really powerful. But this doctor came to me, who's now my chief medical officer, Dr. Otaling. He was a cock ring virgin. Are you guys cock ring virgins? Use cock rings?
I must admit, I am a virgin.
You're virgins. Okay, so I'm not. I married late in life, and I made certain that I married a woman who's into sex toys. Now, it happens to be, I recommend it too, by the way. It's paid off. And actually, I wouldn't be doing this without her, because I knew about cock. So she would buy a cock ring for me, every a couple times a year. We'd use them and throw them out because they've been made the same way for 150 years. Typically it's a mass-produced. I got one here, table. It's an O-ring. It's a gasket for your dick, and you have to. It blocks the arterial flow in. So in order for it to be most effective, you have to have a full erection. Then it's like a chokehold on your penis. And for men with compromised circulation and skin, like men with diabetes or hypertension, you can't really wear it more than 20, 30 minutes. And if you wear it for more than an hour and a half, you can actually end up in the ER. I've seen guys with dead dicks who between drugs and alcohol, leaving the ring on, woke up 8, 10, 12 hours later, with a necrosis of the tip of their penis.
Jeez.
Bummer. You're going to lose the nest.
It's a nightmare.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
So when he came up, this doctor approached me with nocturnal erection. I thought, well, let's reinvent the cock ring then, because we need to come up with a cock ring that can both be worn overnight and I told him, why limit ourselves to just nocturnal erections? I want to know what's going on when I'm trying to have sex. Don't you guys? I mean, it's a lot more interesting to me what's going on at night. So we have to be a cock ring that can be worn for hours. So our cock rings, let's see, here's one. They're made out of a really soft elastomer. Here, I'll put one hand. They're flexible, they're spongy, stretchable. So they don't block the arterial flow into the penis. They just constrain the venous return. So they accomplish 2 purposes. One, they allow people to get data about their cardiovascular health and their sexual health, and to measure the side effects of medications and alcohol, marijuana, relations upon their sexual performance. And it also enhances their sexual performance. And I didn't get this about cock rings. For me, they were just a novelty. And now I don't have sex without a cock ring. Why? Because beyond rock hard, this cock ring hard. Nothing will get you harder. So, and I'm not talking about length. This isn't like bragging, I'm 10 inches now. No, this is about girth. It's about holding the more blood you hold in the penis, the more sensitive your penis is, the more powerful the orgasm. In addition to which, by holding blood in, you can last longer. So, with our, I invented a ring. Once I came up with a tech ring, I thought I got to get a ring for guys, because guys don't have anything. They got these stupid strokers and these ineffective cock rings. Women have vibrators. I mean, women like to complain that they don't get enough attention paid to them. Is between us guys, that's a bunch of bullshit. They get so much attention paid to them. When it comes to sex toys, they rule the world. I mean, if I go to a sex toy show, and we don't go to them anymore because it's not really our audience, but I've had women come up to me and say, "Oh no, something else for men," and you're in this forest of dildos, vibrators, lingerie, all this stuff for women, and they still complain like, "Oh, you invented something else for men. What about women?" Well, we are developing something for women, but men need help. And actually, I don't have to call it help because guy pride gets in the way. Here's another thing we've learned: how do you tell the difference between a gay doctor and a straight doctor with one question? Nick, you go first. Gay doctor versus straight doctor, one question.
I've never pondered that one. I don't know.
Okay, Dave.
Well, do you like men or women? I guess wouldn't that be the first question?
It's one word though. One word, right?
One question. Do you like men or women? That's not going to tell you the difference. I guess that'll work. Assuming they're honest.
Right. Yeah.
Do you use the question we use at like the American Urology Association or the Society of Sexual Medicine shows is, do you use a cock ring? Gay doctor. Last night you got a better one. Straight doctor. Like, I don't know. I don't need that. I'm okay. They go right to that male pride thing. Oh,
That's hilarious.
they're ignorant. And most urologists are ignorant about cock rings. They don't think about them. And the first thing they do is what all guys do, is we just prescribe a pill. And then, hey, that's it. I can't do anything else for you. You want an implant? And that's not what most guys need. Most guys, one, they need data so they can start to figure out, well, wait a second, did my doctor cause this problem by putting me on a blood pressure pill and an SSRI antidepressant? Or is there something wrong in my relationship? I'm having nocturnal erections, but I can't get up with my partner, my wife. Maybe there's something, there's some psychological issue here. Or, gee, when I've had 5 cocktails, it doesn't work, and when I'm not drinking, it does work. With data, you can start to sort out the causes of things, and often the causes of things, as I said earlier, just a moment ago, it's because we doctors have given something to someone that's making their problem worse, and we haven't, asked them about it. So, and the other is, the ring will get you harder, beyond rock hard. This cock ring hard. There's no amount of vaginal, oral, manual, anal stimulation is going to get to the heart rate and get you harder. So face up to it, guys. Put a ring on it. So our ring, yeah, what a great birthday present too. What a great Valentine's Day present for women to give to guys. Hey, this Valentine's Day, ladies, right. You take your knee. You put a ring on it.
Yes, that's a good one. I love it.
So my girth with this ring, our ring, increases by 4 millimeters. So no one's going to walk by me and say, "Oh my God, porn star." But that's the max amount of blood that it'll hold, and that blood makes a difference. And the other thing our rings were designed to do, this was my thought, was how do we make a man's orgasm better? Women have vibrators, and they all use them today. I mean, you guys are young. I'm 71. My mother's vibrator, back in the late 50s, early 60s, was huge and was stashed away in the bottom dresser drawer in the supply closet in the garage. I don't think my dad had sex very much. My wife owns, I don't know how many, 7, 8, and she likes different ones for different times of different positions, different mood. And our daughter takes them on dates and has to her friends. They've been normalized. There's no shame associated anymore with using a vibrator for a woman. They're commonplace. Guys, associate cock rings with gay guys or fetish sex, and the cock rings, these O-rings are uncomfortable. But we've designed the Maximum Performance Ring, which is our top-selling product, to prolong the male orgasm. So what occurred to me was that by putting the right amount of pressure over the urethra, not choking it off, we could draw out the ejaculatory phase. So we tested this on men ranging in age from 27 to 70. I was the oldest person in the test group. And when the ring increased the ejaculatory phase by 50%, mine goes from 4 seconds to 7 seconds. Whoa. That's dynamite orgasm. I don't have sex without it. My wife's idea of foreplay is like drop in front of me. Like, hey, you ready? My wife doesn't want to have sex with me if I don't have the ring on because she knows I'm gonna last longer, be more confident, and that's better for her as well too. And that's something that people need to negotiate in a relationship, because I don't know how long you guys have been married. You've probably been married long enough. I'm married 36 years. There are certain positions that utterly bore me. And my wife had 3 kids. I don't get the friction that I want. But with a ring on, that changes everything. With a ring on, I'm rock hard. Oh, you want to make love in that position? I don't. Ordinarily, 3 years ago, I would have said, "Fuck that." You know that bores me. I'm gonna lose my erection. I get irritated. And now that's not the case. And I hear about this from our patients, their customers. I hear about this from men your age, the 40s, on up, about how having an effective cock ring has changed their marriages. They make love more often. They make love longer. They make love with less pressure. It's not like, hey, we're both turned on. It's date night. Let's get the vibrator. What's your favorite position? No, there's not that rush, that anxiety, and frankly erection losing rush.
That's fascinating. So on your website, I was just on there while you were speaking. You have on the shop section, you've got a few different types of rings, and so you're just talking about a performance ring. Like where would most people start when they're looking at implementing one of these tools?
If they want their data, if they have high blood pressure, diabetes, erectile dysfunction,
Yeah.
or they're just over the age of 45, 50 and want to establish a baseline, they should start with the Tech Ring. The Tech Ring could also be used as a decent erection ring, but the Max PR is a ring that we designed specifically for sex. So we've sold probably about 13, almost 12,600 plus rings, and about 2,500 of those are Tech Rings, and the rest are either the Max PR or the Performance Ring. For the Performance Ring at this point, we really just recommend for men who are big. Guys like you and Nick and Dave, guys in 35th percentile are better. It's most men actually would be, the Max PR is a better performer for them. We do have guys who are big who get the Max PR is too tight, and they benefit from the Performance Ring. And there are guys, of course, who think they're too big, and they're not. So on our website, we have a calculator so guys can figure out what, are you really in the 95th percentile?
Right.
But I have a guy I spoke with yesterday who he's 9 inches long and 8 inches around. I mean, 8 inches around that's a pipe.
Yeah. That's the Centaur that you're talking about.
Yeah, he's correct. Yeah, but he likes the Max PR.
Yeah.
And I was surprised by that. He bought the Performance Ring, felt it was a little bit too loose. I said, "We'll get the Max PR," and now he contacted me to tell me he loves it.
Oh wow.
Interesting. So the difference between the FirmTech, like the measuring device, that's one that you technically would wear all night?
You wear it overnight. We recommend that you wear it 4 times to get the data. It takes a couple of uses for the sensors that calibrates your body. And overnight it's like 6 to 8 hours. You don't need to. And then we recommend as well that you use it twice while trying to have sex or having sex. And that's a lot. Then you've established a baseline.
Gotcha.
Just the way, if I have high blood pressure, I had high blood pressure, and that time I was working with a company on a new approach to diabetes, and I just got started reading and getting immersed in sensor technology for monitoring sugar. And thought, which now is monitored, continuously with the devices that's on the arm.
Right.
And it occurred to me, but so many, like 40% of the adult population, maybe more, have high blood pressure over the age of 40. Why aren't we? And you're treating them because you go to the doctor's office twice a year, and maybe the guy checks his blood pressure once, twice at the gym. That's not scientific. That's kind of stupid. And we also treat people with blood pressure. Same thing with erectile dysfunction. One size fits all. Whether you're 70 or 40, whether you're obese or lean, we just give the same pill and try it out. Well, that's really stupid, especially when we have technology both for monitoring glucose and now for monitoring erections that can be both objective and personal, because we're all different. You guys want to talk about homotherapy. I want to address that in just a moment. So when I started checking my blood pressure twice a day for a few weeks, I realized my blood pressure was only up in the mornings, and generally it was aggravated by drinking the night before. So instead of taking a pill, I just changed my habits. I don't drink after 8 o'clock at night. I try to watch my sleep more, and then I cut my dose of blood pressure medicine in half, and I was taking it every other day. And now I only take it on an as-needed basis, maybe like once or twice a week, which is what people should do with their blood pressure. They should be monitoring it frequently. So with our device, if you don't have a problem, you guys probably don't, you get the readings, baseline readings, and they say, okay, I'm going to check this once a month, just the way you might check your blood pressure, or you might check your weight, or some other health parameter that you're following, maybe perhaps somebody at the gym. But for guys who have problems, you want to follow more often.
Yeah, it's interesting because I'm just thinking of all the male patients that I see, and having a tool like this could be a really valuable just marker for success with energy levels, more activity at the gym. Like it's such like as you said, a key indicator for heart disease and for prevention on many different levels. So if you've got ways to track progress, through looking at blood flow, that's a game changer for men. And then obviously then there's the quality of life and performance for their partner. There's all sorts of different interesting impacts from implementing data like this. I mean, one question that I would have just around like smart devices around the nether regions, like, is there any issues around, like, is it Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, like what is going right next to the testicles?
It's Bluetooth, and the Bluetooth is off when it's on the body. So
Gotcha.
actually, that's not required by the FDA, but it was required in order to get a CE mark in Europe, we had to eliminate that. So when you, and this actually leads to, in the first week of use, between 2 and 5% failure rate, where guys say it's not working, but it actually is working. Here's why. Because we don't streamline the data. In other words, it's not. We're going to open that up as a possibility in a year here in the United States. So there are guys who want to gamify this. They want to stream it. But when you pair the device with your phone, and you get this green light flashing on the device. I don't have one. I don't have. This is a dummy one. I don't have a real one up here. But you get a green light that's flashing. That turns the Bluetooth off. You put it on your body. You wear it, and then you have to stop the recording. This is where the breakdown occurs with good guys, because guys like to just we don't read instruction manuals. We don't watch YouTubes. We don't even bother with the damn QR code. We just put it on. And it's not working. So you have to turn. So in the morning, you have to turn it off, and then take it off your body, and then turn it on again, and then the data goes to the cloud and gets interpreted and gets comes back down. Yeah. But guys typically, and I can't say many, it's like 1 out of 15 or 1 out of 20 guys, like, it's not working, because they haven't turned it off, or they haven't turned it on again. They don't understand that it's not like a smart ring where it's live streaming.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's important to know. David, go ahead. I'm sure you got some questions, and definitely want to jump in the hormone discussion as well.
Sure. Well, I have to say I've learned a lot, man. I didn't know much about these things, and after speaking with you, man, it is interesting. There is a little bit of a stigma, I think, amongst men with these types of conversations, like for performance. And then, we're talking about health benefits as well, but even just from a performance place, like, who doesn't want to have better sex?
Or better orgasms.
Yeah, and a 50% more. That's incredible, man. Like, that sounds amazing. But you even have, there's people out there that maybe their sex lives are struggling, right? And they can't, and they need that enhancement, and they need a little bit of help. So this covers the full spectrum. What you're talking about here, and I love the data-driven stuff. It's one thing that, like you're saying. Me and Nick have had some other guests on our podcast talking about this whole bit with erections, and that's a huge indicator for cardiovascular disease and other type of problems in your health. And what a great way, as you're like you're saying, hitting around 45, to start monitoring to see where you're at, because we don't look at these type things, right? And like you're saying, most people go to conventional medicine doctors are going to get a pill. They're not going to look at their lifestyle, and you're not going to get any kind of change because you're not measuring the right things.
And we're not even asking the questions. So, we doctors, we don't ask people we don't warn them about the sexual side effects of medications. We don't even think about it. We just put them on stuff. And I'm really not thinking about antihypertensives and SRIs and things and for older men with prostate problems, the flow medications also, are problematic. And then if you got guys who are taking 2 or 3 of these things and they're synergistic, they've got problems. I got a guy who was taking 30 Zymbalta for years. Does he really still need it? So he had some significant psychological trauma 25, 30 years ago, and he's been kept on this medication. And now that he's older, I think, as I recall, he's in his early 60s. He's developed erectile dysfunction. We tell everyone, if I recommend a change or we recommend a change, discuss with your doctor first. I know these guys, most of these guys aren't doing it though, because they don't trust their doctors, because the doctors put them on the pills in the first place, and the doctors never ask them questions about or warnings, about it. This guy stopped his Zymbalta, and his wife are now having sex almost every day, and that hasn't happened to them for several years. That's a game changer. As we discussed before the show, I've never had a doctor ask me about my marriage. Well, what's key to most people's happiness is their primary partnership or their marriage. Or even are they happy being alone? Do they masturbate? We don't ask. If people, we know that people have regular sex. People have sex every day. Cut their cortisol levels by half. Well, what's a better way of dealing with your stress? Take an antidepressant or masturbate or have sex every day? I mean, the answer is obvious. One, having sex every day is without side effects. So try that before you take something that has significant side effects. We know that people, the big study out of the UK, I think it was in Wales 2 years ago, men over 70 who had sex twice a week for more than 20 minutes. And that's, by the way, more than 20 minutes for guys age 70. That takes longer. That's about right. They cut the risk of sudden cardiac death over the next decade by 50%. Now, they're going to die anyway, and they still might die of something else. But that's a big change. And let's look at divorce. People have sex twice a week versus people have sex twice a month. Cut their divorce rate in half. We have a lot of broken families in this country. We've been talking about the divorce rate since I was a kid. And people we're worried about the divorce rate in the late 50s and early 60s, and it's doubled since then. Well, as doctors, we don't talk about people's relationships. We make a lot of recommendations: sleep, alcohol, comply with medications, don't eat too much carbs, whatever. We don't make recommendations about the sexual health, and that's wrong.
I love that you brought this conversation up, because I think some people just bypass the I want to say the responsibility in a relationship, but bypass the meaningfulness and the impact on so many different outcomes, whether it just be closeness with your partner, but also cardiovascular, the hormone connection, the oxytocin, all the different surges in physiological change and biochemistry that happen as a result of that. And it's so important to just really underline that point that you just mentioned about reduction all-cause mortality with increased frequency of intercourse throughout a weekly, scenario. I mean, I can't tell you how many people, that are in relationships struggle that definitely couldn't say that they have sex with their partner more than once a month. Like it's way less than that, probably, for the majority of people.
It's depressing. I speak to my son's friends, and I'm just kind of aghast. I mean, you guys are in your 30s.
Yeah.
Where are you going to be in your 50s? And the excuses are work, kids. Oh, it's almost what's stressful today. No, you're prioritizing the wrong things. Because of the work that I'm doing, a lot of people. I go to a gym where Bozeman's a really fit town to begin with. I also go to a gym where the fit guys go, and so people talk to me about sex. They know what I'm doing. I'm always, people tell me about what you just described. You're having sex once a month. You have a date night. You have one kid. What's the and it's like why you're in the gym 14 hours a week. Why don't you take 4 hours out of your whiteboard plan and plan on making love? Oh, it's not spontaneous. Well, if you're going to get back to the habit of making love with your wife or your girlfriend you're living with, you're going to have to plan it, because it's not going to happen spontaneously. You're not going to wake up one morning, both of you, and say, hey, you know what? Let's be 25 again. It doesn't work that way. I mean, if you guys were coming to my house for dinner tonight, and I want to have a good time with you, it wouldn't be, oh, Nick and Dave, they're arriving in 5 minutes. Let's see what's in the refrigerator. Oh shit, rotisserie chicken leftovers. I got some frozen mac and cheese. No, I'd plan a meal, and we'd have more fun because of that. And it wouldn't be, oh, I got some box wine here, guys. Is that okay? No, I would be thinking, oh, these guys are coming up. Let's do some, let's make some gin tonics with some herbs. Or let's pull out a really good wine. You get the point I'm making. You got to plan. I don't know what it is about sex where people become inhibited about planning for pleasure. Not before they get married. Not when they're in their late, when they're in college or in the few years after college. Oh, though, let's bring a sex toy. Let's put on lingerie. But somehow or other, you're married a couple of years, and that you don't. But I don't know. It troubles me.
Well, I think just having a conversation about it is important, because I mean, we've got 2 kids, so there has to be some sort of idea around when something could happen in the bedroom versus just relinquishing the opportunity to chance and being spontaneous. It's just it doesn't happen. There's no room for that.
That's right.
In most people's busy lives, like, I don't see how that's a reality. Yeah.
It has to be planned, and you have to get the kids out of the bed. Let's talk about hormones, though, because let's talk about hormones. because you guys early just before the show we're talking about I want to talk about hormones, and I have a question for you, but first let me talk about what we've experienced here. So because of this business, I mean, we hard launched about a year and a half ago at CES, and talking to my friends, I realized that pretty much every white guy I knew over the age of 50, I mean, really, like almost all of them were taking testosterone. I mean, not all, but 75, 80% of guys in my close friends taking testosterone, whether they needed it or not. And I said, well, I got to try it. So I asked a group of urologists, what do you think is going to happen? Because right now they're prescribing testosterone without our device, as are most longevity doctors, as you guys are probably too. You don't have a baseline against which you're measuring. What's the baseline? The baseline is a serum, is a total and free testosterone blood level. Is that what is? Okay, that's something. It's better than nothing. But what I know, what we've noticed, again, this is talking to customers who are buying our device to try to figure this out without their doctors. Because, hey, I'm taking testosterone, I still have ED. Or that's really a major problem. So, or I'm taking testosterone, and oh my God, I went from 2 nocturnal erections to 5. It's working. I went from an average 7 in hardness, 1/10 scale, and now I'm a 10. My girlfriend's really happy, or my boyfriend's really happy. So what I've realized, and I'll talk about my personal experience in a moment, what I've realized talking to these people is that the blood tests don't really reflect what's going on all that well. The penis is actually a better monitor of what's going on, how hard you get. Because we have men who start out like low normal or low, and they get jacked up to 600, 800, 1100, 1200 with no change whatsoever. And we have men in the same situation who report dramatic improvement. So there's a receptor problem here. We are not able to measure the testosterone receptors, and there's probably significant genetic variation. And the ring helps us sort that out. I mean, the ring can. So my personal experience with testosterone, which I referred to a moment before, is I asked these urologists, what's going to happen to me? I average 3 to 4 nocturnal erections per night. I have sex pretty much every night before I go to bed. What do you think is going to happen? And they said, we think that your nocturnal erection is going to last longer and get harder. And none of that, there was no change whatsoever. I still take testosterone, and why? Now I'm back in your world. I take it because I'm stronger. I take it because without pushing I go to the gym 3 times a week, and I work out, moderately hard. Pretty much the same kind of routine all the time. And over the course of 6 weeks, I went from curling 45s at the end of my bicep routine to curling 55s without pushing it. And I went from bench press 170, 175 to 190 to 200 without. And I'm just an old guy, skinny guy. And that's objective. That's like watching your dick get harder. It did not happen, but because my dick was already hard. That's something people don't realize about erections is that I'm as hard now as I was when I was 14. I just can't get as hard as frequently, and I don't last as long naturally. But so for most guys, the issue is not about getting rock hard. It's about staying rock hard, longer. Circling back to the start of this conversation, which is about the value of rings. Now, so we have guys who are using this device to monitor testosterone therapy. And if you're putting guys on this, without this, I would recommend something I'm trying to sell, because it's beneficial. I see that with our customers. It helps them sort out what's going on. You guys mentioned oxytocin before. I have no experience with that. Tell me about I'm curious about it. Tell me about your experience with oxytocin.
Well, not necessarily using it as a therapeutic, although like there are some nasal sprays and things like that they can be used for oxytocin. It metabolizes so quickly in the body anyways. But I meant more just the intimate connection is a way to build that just endogenously within the body. I'm curious, so is there some sustained benefit to using your device, let's say just the performance device, for erections without the ring? Like, are you noticing any other benefits, like maybe even lowering blood pressure? Is there something about just wearing it, or is it something about wearing it and then increasing frequency of sex is maybe like
it's hard to slow down. Yeah, I can't. I think I'm already committed to frequent sex, and I just think it's look, a marriage. I don't want to limit this to just straight guys, because this applies to gays as well too. A marriage or a long-term partnership rests upon three things, in my opinion, and one of them is sex. It's the bond. It's the bond. It's one, and the other one is you have to share values, and then sharing children, sharing some major project over a long period of time. Those are things that bind people together, that create a real partnership. On the female side, we are developing a device that we call the Clitique to monitor clitoral health. We have tested out the sensors. We have developed a form. We need to marry them, and I'm trying to raise money for that project right now.
What would you be measuring for in the vaginal tract? Are you measuring the same thing, or erection status?
We will measure pubic muscle contractions, but I'm not interested in the vagina. I'm interested in the clitoris.
Gotcha.
Because the clitoris is key to a woman's sexual health. Women have nocturnal clitoral erections. Did you know that?
I had no idea.
I
hadn't thought about it. Madison Johnson studied it. No one has really looked at it since Madison Johnson. Think about that. Isn't that incredible? Wow. So women have nocturnal clitoral erections. It's our thesis that it's just going to be just the same as with men. They're going to be impacted by diabetes, hypertension, atherosclerosis, obesity, medications, hormones. I got to decline this call, sorry. And this device is going to be profoundly valuable for women, because women take more meds than men do. Women also take hormones. So, in the future, gynecologists, again, they're going to have to use this. Women, especially post-menopausal women, are going to want to know the data. But I do think that post-menopausal women, in the near future, it'll be normative for them to take testosterone. Think about how dumb it is right now for women. What the gynecologists think, it's a big deal. We finally figured out that giving you estrogen creams after menopause is not going to have an impact on, you're not going to get cancer. And that's took them like 30 years to suss that out. And now women on the biohacking side are starting to take testosterone, and that's a game changer. So we're going to replace your estrogen with a cream, but we're not going to replace testosterone, because you might get acne or a mustache. But this is dose related. I mean, you don't suddenly wake up in the morning and look like Groucho Marx. I'm talking about women right now, or frankly with men with testosterone too. You don't suddenly wake up with pimples in your back and man boobs because you're taking too much testosterone. That happens over time, and can be addressed, assuming that the guys are fucking paying attention. Right? Some of these weight builders, with their man boobs, kind of like, what the fuck were you thinking 5 years ago? But women take testosterone, postmenopausal women. Mm-hmm. It takes them back to their late 30s. It's not, sex is no longer, well, I might get turned on or I might not. It's, I kind of want it. Mm-hmm. They might not want it the way they wanted it when they're 18, but it's a game changer. And so just the way we hear from men, the way the cock ring, especially the maximum performance ring, has them making love longer. And to your point, Nick, having more intimacy, having more intimate time. Testosterone, and which we've been recommending to postmenopausal women, is having the same impact as well too. People are making love more often, and also, anyway, again, just for doctors to replace one hormone, not the other, is stupid.
Totally. I mean, they all happen in orchestra inside the body. If you just pinpoint or isolate one and neglect the other, you're gonna run.
I like that.
Trouble. Yeah,
and it's an orchestra, and the doctors need to get up on the podium and start conducting it, as opposed to okay, it's over to you. You guys think you're getting old. I'm leaving the podium. All you guys are getting old. I can't do anything for you.
Just saying that. I mean, most people over the age of 40, they've repeated that line from their doctor. Oh, it's just because you're getting old. Your mood's going down. I mean, if you just trace things back to, say, especially someone in a relationship, down to frequency of intimacy, to that opportunity to connect, the quality of life impact is just so, it's hard to measure. But if it's not happening, I mean, the amount of things that could go wrong, you know, all the way into divorce and cardiovascular disease and everything else that happens as a result of just not feeling connected to your partner. I mean, it's huge. So it's so interesting that you hit on so many different points like that, and taking this into a conversation around overall health and not just about performance, although that's a big part of this conversation too. So I really appreciate that, you know, that very rounded, robust way in which you articulate the use of this device. And the fact that you can measure these things is significant. It's funny. I mean, I'm reminded of a documentary that was done. I think it was a documentary really pushing on the vegan diet, I think, and they were talking about nighttime erections.
Game changer.
Yeah, game changer. And this is the first time that I had heard about the measuring of the nighttime erections as a.
Well, the device they were using back then was called the Ridgescan. And that looked like something Dr. Frankenstein would put in your dick. You can't have sex with it. It has wires coming out of it, and it's like you're hooked up to an electrocardiogram. You have to sleep. You have to sleep like lying down like that, or a wire might come out. Our device is designed to be comfortable and be used at home, privacy under real life circumstances. And I just want to make one other point, if you don't mind. One of the things that we studied was detumescence. Why? So detumescence is the time it takes for an erection to go down after climax. So detumescence is an objective in gross measure of how much blood is held in the penis. The more blood is held in the penis, the longer the erection lasts. Now, for young guys or guys with premature ejaculation, to last after they come, it helps their partner climax. For older people like you guys or myself, and for guys who are involved with more mature women, the women always come first. That's the game changer. That's the deal. So staying hard longer afterwards is really about the intimacy. Mm-hmm. So we studied the maximum performance ring versus 10 milligrams of tadalafil, Cialis. Most guys who have a problem don't have a problem, want to last longer, they take a pill. Pills put more blood in, but they don't really keep it there. And most guys' problems, again, is not that they can't get blood in; it's the problem is keeping it there. So we studied 11 men. There's a paper coming out with, I think, 35 subjects this fall about this. With nothing, the average erection went away off the top of my head like 35 seconds. I'm talking went away, meaning you could no longer penetrate. You're too soft to penetrate. With tadalafil, it was just a tad over 2 minutes. That's just the standard thing guys do. With the maximum performance ring, it was over 4 minutes. That's twice as long. Wow. Twice as long as a ring as with a pill. And both together was best of all, about 5 minutes. So the takeaway really for men is start with a ring. And if you really want to last, if you really want to last the longest, take a ring, take a ring and a pill. And I think that will become the standard for sexual performance in the near future.
Love it. That's important information. Big time. David, any last questions or comments before we
this has been fantastic, man. No, this has been great, very informative. I mean, just stuff I've never even like looked into or known much about, but I mean, you've shined this beautiful light on this, and you sold me, man. I'm gonna order one and get going.
Yeah,
me too. Ring on for your health and for your performance.
That's right.
Okay, so and we're gonna put in the show notes where people can access the website and they can purchase everything online. You can
find us at myfirmtech, myfirmtech.com. You can find us. You can follow us on Instagram or with myfirmtech. We're on X as well. And if people want to contact me personally, it might take me a day or two to get back to you, but I probably speak to about 8 to 10 people a week because I want to know what people are actually doing. You're all because the urologists don't know. They don't ask. I didn't know either. As a doctor, I never ask people, what's going on with sexual health. I never asked anyone who had a heart attack. Hey, by the way, was your dick getting weak in the last few months? Never occurred to me to ask. Although it would be an important question, to ask. So people can reach me at Elliot, ELLIOT at myfirmtech.com as well.
Cool. Awesome. Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing all your wisdom, insight, and for having the spirit and desire to research this more. If you hadn't, we wouldn't be here having this conversation, and more people wouldn't be able to get better results with sex and health and longevity. So there's so many applications here, which I love that you shared. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. And it all started with thinking I was a centaur.
Yeah. That's the most important image. Yeah. Right there. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Doc. Appreciate you, man.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed today's podcast, please be sure to subscribe to the Dr. Dads and share with your family and friends. You can also follow and interact with Dr. Nick and Dr. David on Facebook and Instagram for a daily dose of inspiration and the latest in health and wellness. Be well.